Hey everybody, hi. This is Hob.
This is Jamie.
And I tried to speak over myself.
That's okay.
And welcome to Dutch and Dragons.
Woo, Dutch
We
and
did not get that in
Dragons.
sync.
That's cool.
Anyhow,
cool.
today, as we had said previously, we are talking about player versus dungeon master. Now, that's not exactly what you think we're talking about. That was our clickbait title. And basically what we're talking about is the responsibility of the dungeon master, the player, to the game. A little bit, and we'll get into it.
Ooh,
but
bouncy.
Anyhow, we have our box of questions, and so we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Puppy.
Oh no,
Okay,
never
sorry.
mind. Jamie's distracted.
I saw a cute doggo. Okay. All right, I'm back.
All right,
First
all right, we're
question. Ta-da! What is the DM's responsibility in the PC's character development?
Okay.
Because we've talked about what it isn't, which is... Why are we shaking? Are we earthquaking over there?
No, I think it's just the...
It's just me? Is it just me?
No, I think it's just the carby vibrating.
Oh, okay. We talked about what it's not, which is giving them a reason why they're with the party. So, on the flip side of that, what is the DM's responsibility in character development?
So, in character development, the DM has a responsibility to help make sure that that character's backstory and future story are consistent with the world. And what that means is that you should put situations based on the character's backstory into the game, which are going to challenge them on a social and emotional level. To encourage that character's growth. Now, that doesn't mean lock them in a box and, throw away the key kind of thing because their character is claustrophobic. But it does maybe mean put them in a dungeon crawl where they have to shimmy through a tight space. Okay. And that could challenge the character, absolutely, and work towards that character's growth.
If I told you that I was a wizard who spent my teen years as a pit fighter and then decided to put down my swords and pick up the books, what would you do to me? What would you do?
That would depend. It would depend on where you were a pit fighter, what that experience was like. You might run into individuals who had been fans of you when you were a pit fighter, or individuals who had been your rivals when you were a pit fighter. You might run into your old pit fighting master or trainer if you were a slave. There are so many different things that you can do with that it's expansive.
Yeah.
And so there are lots of situations which you can put your players in to challenge their character and grow their character.
Yeah, I like that. I think I have nothing to add to that. That would be exactly what I would have said. So,
there you go.
Moving on. Dun, 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 dun. How do you fix it when how do you fix it when a player misses huge plot points?
I'll let you tackle that.
And we have had this happen where we have put plots in front of our characters that we thought were perfectly obvious, and our characters didn't pick up on them. Now, when that happened...
Time to order the coffee.
Yep, so hold on. Hold that thought.
What's up?
Hello, how are you?
Good.
So good. What kind of start for you guys?
Small iced extra shot coconut milk caramelizer.
Got it.
And a small sweet sunrise iced tea, black tea.
Sweet sunrise. Anything else for you?
Nah, that's it.
All right, just the 2 drinks will be $8.20 at the window, okay?
Oh,
okay.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Okay, so
like I said, players missed huge plot points, and we were like, what is going on? So the first thing I did was ask, okay, maybe I see the plot points because I created the story in my head, so I see it as, this is obvious. But maybe it's not as obvious as I think it is. So first of all, I sat down with my players kind of individually, and I said, what do you think is going on here? Because I wanted to see if anybody at all had picked up on anyone. Now, I have a player who I absolutely love, but she's way ADHD, and so sometimes she's a little behind the other characters on picking up major plot points. At this point, she was the only character who knew what was going on. So my thought process was, well, if this player has picked up on all of the hints enough to know what's going on. They obviously was not obtuse enough for the other characters not to get it.
When your ADHD player is the one who knows the plot, then everybody else doesn't, you might have a player problem.
Yeah. So at that point, I said, okay, so it's probably not the game. And so I sat down with my players and said, all right, ADHD player, tell them what's happening. And she told them what's going on. They were like, oh. And I said, okay, so tell me why you missed it. I mean, I want to know, is it I threw too much at you too fast, which was the reason that they did, is her ADHD brain could keep up with how much information and how much story was just bang, 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 but theirs couldn't, which is a really interesting twist of events.
So it turns out we actually had a dungeon master problem, not a player problem.
Not a player problem, but
well,
it was kind of both.
Yeah.
But one was I threw too much at them too fast, and the other one was they're not note takers. They're notoriously bad at note taking. So none of them had taken enough notes at all to be able to connect the dots. So I said, okay, I'm going to slow down what I'm throwing at you, but y'all got to start taking some notes because you're going to miss a big problem.
Mixed results.
Mixed results. But I mean, that's kind of how I handle it. If my players are missing what I think are obvious, big, flashing plot points, I first go to them and say, what do you think is going on? And then I try to troubleshoot, like, is it I'm going too fast? Am I not being clear? Am I not dropping enough hints? Or are they just not participating?
Hey, what's up,
Hey.
friends?
Hey.
Hey. Oh, we got a black tea this morning.
Yes.
All right, that's not that. All right. We've got 820 for you guys.
Nope.
Right, because
Or order of operations. I forgot. We didn't pay back
Skip
there.
card first.
There we
we
go.
go. There we
Thank you. All right. How are you guys doing?
Good.
good.
Yeah, good. I love that. It's good to be good, you know? Could I get a sliced sweet sunrise black tea on the fly, please? Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, and you're doing something different too. This Annihilator.
No.
Wow. No.
Should be a caramelizer. Triple
Okay,
shot.
We can do that. Yes. Can I do a sliced extra dry coconut milk caramelizer, please? Thank you. Yeah.
Did we not get that order right at
There
all
you
this
go.
morning?
You know what? We got you. But we're still getting a small sweet sunrise black tea, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was like, before we like really start for that one, you know? Okay, I was like so shook by you guys. I was like, wow, like I know it's been a while, but like I didn't think it was that long to like
No.
really change up your order. Yeah.
No.
It's the cherry lime like lemonades later, or like you know whatever, or like we got the coconut milk stuff in the
yep.
morning. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing this morning?
Going to see the new Child's Play movie.
Yes, is that out already?
Yes.
Oh, how do you like it?
Terrifying.
Yeah, is Aubrey Plaza in it?
Yes.
She is. Okay, so I have
She's
my
the mom.
Apple Watch, right?
Thank you so much.
My Apple Watch can like test my heart rate.
Uh-huh.
My heart rate got to 180 during the movie.
Nice.
Nice.
I was there next laugh the whole time.
Oh my
She
god.
did. She's laughing at me.
Aww.
And the movie's fun.
Right on.
I love Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey
so-
Plaza is underratedly hilarious.
She's amazing. She's like the dry humor is like so good, you know. Like she's really got it down. Cool. Well, tell me how you guys like it.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, we'll do.
thanks
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
See you guys.
Bye. I'm going to make sure we're not going to run any pedestrians over. because
Okay, so now
We're
that
clear
we've
on
gotten
this
the
side?
coffee
This is like a real blind turn when we come out of our coffee. So we're always
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, are we going to run anyone
And-
over? Shaky, shaky, shake.
enjoy the bobblehead.
Enjoy your bobbleheads. But I know that as a DM, that our first instinct is to go, oh my god, my players are dumb, and they're just not getting it. Like,
I mean-
this is a lot of times my first reaction is just to go, my god, my players are dumb, and they don't get it.
You're not nice.
But no, I'm not. Look, I don't have to be, but that's my first reaction. Come on, cognitive dissonance. You can't be responsible for the bad shit that happens in your life, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean,
all
you
right.
should be, but I'm just talking about a weird psych term.
Anyhow, so
It's very, very easy for us as DMs to just go, my players are dumb, and they don't get what's going on. I feel like, though, that you need to take a step back from that and go, okay, so maybe they're not getting it because of something that I'm doing, kind of a thing. So reassessment is best.
it's okay.
All right, next question. I beat that
Next
one
question.
death. Is the player or the GM responsible for describing their player actions?
The character actions.
Character actions.
Both.
Oh,
Both.
I read that wrong.
You
Yes.
did. You read that wrong. And I say both. And the reason that I say both is because in some instances it makes sense for the DM to narrate specific actions, especially in situations where there is failure and consequences for those failure beyond you just missed your target. I also think that the players have a responsibility to narrate their actions, and I often give my players the opportunity to do things like describe the killing blow against an enemy, or describe their critical hit and how awesome it was, and I give them an opportunity to describe their critical failures when there aren't really any consequences, because I like to fail forward, so to speak. Which is to say that sometimes failure can look really, really awesome and be a really awesome component of the game, and I encourage my players to embrace it and just carry forward into weird things. Like maybe you critically miss your first attack and you stumble, but you roll a really high roll on your second attack, and so your stumble turns into the killing blow kind of thing. And you can make that stuff awesome. And the DM and players working together and trusting each other enough to describe things makes for a much better storytelling experience for everybody.
Okay. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Should your games have content advisories? Should your games have trigger warnings?
No.
Content advisory, that sort of thing.
No. Now, I have a caveat to that.
I knew you would have.
Generally speaking, at my table, I know everyone very well that I'm playing with, and I know what things are going to potentially cause them undue mental distress. And I avoid those things. And most of the time, my game outside of...
You had one of my hairs on your beard. It was just driving me crazy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
She's picking at me.
I am. That's what I do.
Anyhow,
it's my job.
so generally speaking, I will for the most part avoid those topics which can make us unduly uncomfortable. But part of the experience of playing a role-playing game is to be pushed a little bit outside of your comfort zone. So I will push those limits within reason. In a situation where you are sitting down with a brand new table of players, such as at a gaming convention, or
this was in the news lately, guys. I don't know if
or
you've heard about
at
this.
at an adventure league game, or any other kind of situation like that. You should definitely, if your game has strong content or topics, you should definitely have a content warning attached to your game.
Agreed.
And you should not throw your players into a situation wherein all of their characters have been kidnapped and are being raped graphically at the table. This is not okay.
With a bunch of new players.
Period. Not okay. It's not appropriate behavior ever at any point in time.
I feel that shock and awe and those shocking situations do have a place in D&D. And they do have a place with people that you know really well. But they do not have a place with a bunch of people you've never met and you don't know.
Exactly. So, yes.
I don't know if I would go for that particular shock and awe that guy went
I mean,
for,
like, legitimately, no, your game should not have to have a content warning. However, if you are playing with new people, and I tend to be vulgar, I tend to swear a lot. My NPCs tend to swear, especially the ones who are bad.
This again goes back to establishing table rules. If I sit down at a table and they go, "This is a PG game, no swearing," I will probably get up.
And leave, because I swear a lot.
Yeah, I swear a lot. I don't do this at work, so I do have some filter, but...
And outside of work, I'm very unfiltered, and it's hard for me not to swear constantly when we're talking to you guys. So there you go. We are not PG people, and most of the people that we play with are also not PG people.
But I will also ask if there's no established. I will be like, "How do y'all feel about swearing?"
Yeah. It's okay to ask those questions, and it's certainly worth taking the time to do if you don't know everyone at the table. But you should not have to have a content filter or a content warning attached to your game. You just shouldn't.
if there are things that you feel are off topic, that should definitely come up at table rules and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
That should be a part of your pre-game discussion.
Okay. Haha, how much of a counselor does the DM need to be?
I'm going to let you take that.
So, people are going to fight. It's going to happen. And sometimes people are going to bring their work, school, social problems, family problems to the table. It does happen. As much as you like to say, leave it at home, they come to the table once in a while. So
With their bullshit.
you'll have something that seems completely innocuous that happens in your game or at the table, and you might have a player who totally flips their lid. And you're like, what on earth is going on here? I feel like that is more of a friend situation. I have at some times pulled people, even him. We were playing at one point in time, and he was just being unusually nasty for some reason. And I was like, are you tired? Are you hungry? Did you have a bad day? Should I feed you? What's going on? And it turned out like, yeah, he had a really bad day, and he was kind of taking it out in the group. And I was like, well, if you want to, you can just sort of eat and hang out at the table, but don't really apparently you need to relax. I think that, yes, you should have an ear open for that sort of a thing, especially at your table, but everyone's there to game and have a good time. So you can't stop the game and have a counseling session in the middle of the game. So while I am sympathetic to that sort of thing with my players, if they're having a bad day, I'm like, you can just tell me I'm having a bad day. I don't really want to get dragged into a lot of the social encounters and stuff. I want to be here. I want to be around my friends, but I need a minute to relax. That's totally fine. But if you're taking it out on my gaming group, I'm going to ask you to calm your shit.
Step away.
Step away.
And sometimes that's the best thing to do is step away for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've done it as a player. I've had a bad day, a cranky day, and I start taking it out of the table.
I fully went into a different room and played from the other room.
Yeah, I saw him do that. I have stopped and gone, I'm going to take my dogs out for just a minute, give myself a little air, come back, and be like, a lot of times I don't pause the game for that. Usually this is me as a player.
Yeah.
And I say, y'all, carry on. I need to step outside for just a minute,
Now, there's another side to that. DMs, as dungeon masters, we have bad days too.
We do.
And so sometimes, it's the better part of valor to just call the game. If you've had an exceptionally bad day and you're feeling rough, instead of taking it out on your players, it can also be worthwhile to take a 5-minute break. Maybe something is just twisted you the wrong way and you need to calm down. Take 5, take 10.
5.
Have a beer.
Take a
if you can
breather.
drink beer. If you're not old enough, don't drink beer.
Yeah.
If you don't
Take
like
10,
beer,
have
don't
a
drink
breather.
beer. But take a breather, do something to kind of wind yourself down, relax a little bit, and then come back to the table fresh.
But you will find sometimes as a DM, you get sort of this weird extra kind of counselor-y role.
Yeah.
2 friends are fighting and they're going to bring it to you because you're supposed to be
The
kind of
referee.
the referee. And yeah.
All right.
So here we go.
I think we've rode that horse to the end.
Yep. Next question. As a DM or a player, when do you walk away from a table?
When it's not fun anymore.
That is the yep.
It's-
When it's not fun anymore.
That's really the only answer. If you are not having fun at the gaming table, it's time to leave.
Especially
and I
if
don't
no one
mean
else is either.
I don't mean once or twice. I mean legitimately. You've been trying for weeks, for months, however long, depending on how often your gaming group meets, and you're just not having fun with the people that you're playing with, or with the people that you're running a game for. And
or if the game isn't fun.
It's just, be like, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm really not enjoying this, and I'm out.
We recently just finished an Arctic hex crawl, and I don't think that was particularly fun for anyone. We all wanted to try it. We wanted to try a hex crawl, so we tried it. And the DMs weren't having any fun with the hex crawl, really, and neither were many of the players. So I don't think that that's something we're going to revisit a lot of. Like, we did push through to the end of it, but we're probably not going to do that a lot.
Probably not a style of game that I will ever run again.
Yeah.
At least not on that scale. I might do some smaller scale, because when I narrowed the scope of it, or the scale of it, it seemed to go just a little bit better.
Yeah, it went a little bit better when we did that. So
we'll see.
But we're 20 minutes in.
And
we have more questions, but
we're not going to get to those today, so those are going to go in the box of random stuff.
And the box of random stuff will be visited at the end of the month.
Eventually.
So is the last Sunday of the month next week?
Actually, I think this might be the last Sunday of the month, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
I think we have one more in this month.
We'll do them next Sunday. Sunday.
So next Sunday is the box of random questions. If we didn't get something in our themed boxes, we'll probably address it next week.
Yep. And that's it for today. Thank you all for joining us. If you enjoy what we're doing, or if you hate it, please feel free to like and subscribe down below. And yeah, go ahead and click like, even if you hate us. We don't mind. No. If you'd like to ask us questions, leave those in the comments below. Hate watch us, love watch us. We don't care. We love everybody.
I don't love everybody. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't love everybody.
But we appreciate you watching, and we hope that you have a great rest of your day.
All right, bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.